Hello, I'm Francois.
I'm Samir, and we're from Young the Giant. We all met each other in middle school and high school and started playing from there and been playing together ever since.
Initially we played kind of the same thing that a lot of bands our age would do. We did Battle of the Bands or acoustic nights or anything
Homecoming,
like that.
Sadie Hawkins.
Yeah, there you go. But as time progressed, actually when we first started college, that's when we got to the point where we started doing some pretty extensive touring in California and then moving on to Arizona, and that's kind of when we started to have to think about whether or not we were going to take school fully seriously and just devote all of our attention to that, or actually try to take the band seriously. And 2 years later, we dropped out. Well, we didn't drop out. We took academic deferment or academic leave, but I think it was the right choice.
It was a very strange experience being so young, exposed to like the bar scene, especially the Orange County bar scene, because there's like a very strong tradition in being douchey. Some of the promoters, will treat you like crap for a while, and then once you start doing well, it'll be okay. Now you've built up your accolades. We can treat you a little bit nicer. But when we first started, we played some bars. People take advantage of us, and
to be fair, we couldn't even tell you about how the bars were early on. They wouldn't let us in until the set started and then kick us out directly afterwards.
So we just hang out outside the bar.
It's really sad, actually.
My body tells me no, but I won't quit, 'cause I won't.
We switched our name about 2.5 years ago to Young the Giant. We were initially called the Jakes. It wasn't really anything serious until this lineup actually formed. Ironically enough, when we went to college, that's when things started getting really serious. And so when we got signed from this lineup from that last EP, we figured, if we were going to start this and get signed, we were going to start fresh and be a band name that all of us felt equally a part of. It kind of reflected really deeply upon the time that we first started, like where our roots were. We were all are still young and naive and stupid and immature, but it got us here, and it's like a lot of fun to be immature, and we try and still be immature for just having fun's sake, and try not to be too rational all the time. So I guess
Speak for yourself. Someone's got to be rational.
Yeah, but I guess it, came from that free-form idea of the power of stupidity and youth, I guess. Yeah. Cough Syrup is a song that we wrote kind of a while back, but still is encompassed in the greater material of this whole album. And we just had dreams of traveling the world and even traveling the country to play. And so it's really fitting that song is kind of about yearning to get out and do something different. And finally now here we are, going out and playing these shows and doing the stuff that we dreamt of. Petro, our director for Cough Syrup, he really got the idea of friction and yearning and this idea to try and bust out. So all the movements and all the transitions in the music video for Cough Syrup are very fluid, and they deal with dynamics.
There's a lot of really beautiful shots that capture the texture of what he was shooting. So I think we did a good job of getting both sides of the coin.
Yeah.
It looks good, and at least for us, it makes sense.
I think we'd most definitely attribute the big sound to our producer, Joe Ciccarelli, and our engineer. He really had a great vision for us. He saw us for the first time at the Viper Room in LA, and it was 2 years ago. And he came up to us and he's like, I really think I get what you guys are doing. I want to work with you guys. I have a cool idea. He had this idea of having us record live, but still have it be like a clean, perfect album. So it was a really cool enterprise, and all that sound came from like this organic chemistry in one room. Like everyone was jamming together. So really, I think that really came from Joe. Joe was kind of like the father figure, and that's what he kind of takes with a lot of his bands, we later realized. So we thought he was being really hard with us because we were like amateurish and it was our first album, and so we were kind of like intimidated when we were starting the album. But in between finishing, we went on tour for 6 weeks with Minus the Bear, who had also recorded their most recent album, Omni, with Joe. And we were just talking to them, and they're like, yeah, man, I was scared shitless of Joe for like 2 months, and he yelled at me the whole time, but at the end of it, he's just super nice, and you realize that it was just kind of all an act, like this old school, like coach mentality, and it really did pay off, and I think we felt a lot more confident after that. So we went to Leeds, and it was like literally our second or third show, and we that day said, we're gonna pace ourselves this time, not get too ridiculous. I was rooming with a tour manager, and our beds were together. It was kind of uncomfortable because I didn't know him that well. So we're like, you guys should, maybe separate the beds. And they're like, okay, fine, just go downstairs. We'll open the bar for you, grab a drink, whatever. Several tequila shots in, we're, just running around the streets. We go to a club, convince everyone that he's a professional soccer player because he's wearing track pants.
I was wearing track pants. They wouldn't let me in the club, and so they didn't buy it. And by the end of the night, we had lost our guitarist. We didn't know where he was, and it was only thanks to a couple good Samaritans who found him just trying to fix his phone, stumbling around the streets. They brought him back to the hotel, and he woke up with a pretty strong hangover, I think.
But there have been also some good, wholesome, fun times too. For the next few months, the best thing to do is just keep an open mind. When you try and convince yourself of how things are going to be, you end up disappointing yourself, or things don't end up the way they should, and things don't tend to get done. So we really have no idea. We hope to make new friends on the road, maybe collaborate with some artists, do some really impromptu jam sessions in the middle of nowhere. Who knows? We're just excited for the adventure and meeting new people and traveling, and it's going to be a lot of fun. Hey, this is Samir.
This is Francois from Young the Giant. You're watching Baeblemusic.com.